In this video, we are going to talk a little bit about configuration and how can you configure actually your Dancer project. So in this example, you can see a really simple Dancer application with a single route that calls the config function basically that comes with Dancer 2, and we assign it to a variable, just go $config. It returns basically, it's a reference to a hash that contains all the configuration information that Dancer has. And then what we have here is we use the toJSON function that again Dancer 2 provides, and give it the $config, so this variable. Actually, we don't even need that variable, so we could just call config here, okay? And then we also provide two parameters to pass two parameters to JSON. One of them is the pretty argument that will, instead of having a single line JSON, it will format it so it's going to be more readable. And the canonical, when it's on, then it will actually sort the keys of the hash. So when we reload it, it won't just get randomly shown. And then before and after, we have this HTML pre-tag that will tell actually our browser to show the text as it is. So let's go to the command line and run this application. Okay, pluck up. And what we see here now, if I open the other window, is this is basically the default configuration that comes with this Dancer application. So this is just the default. It automatically set the path to the location where my example is. So it's in the examples Dancer and show config directory. You can see that the logger is mapped to console. Though it says port 3000, we are actually running on 5000. So Dancer doesn't know about how pluckup is running it, and or it's just a bug here, I don't know. We also talk about, it also says that the default templating system is the tiny templating system. We're going to talk about templates later on. Views is the directory where actually the templates are going to be located, and it's in the views directory, but you can configure this. And what else is there that might be interesting? The environment, which is called development here, and we'll talk about it in a second. And the default content type, so this is that just when it sends back some data, it by default sets a text HTML because it's an HTML document, but you can also change it to be JSON, or per request you can say do it. It knows what is the default characters that actually it says not, it doesn't know, and that's it. So now, how can we configure the application? Let me stop it because it won't read again the configuration anyway. In the directory, I'll place a couple of examples just to be able to easily use. So I have this, let me copy this Maven file for now, just to show you what's going on. So the file, the actual configuration file is called config.yaml. Because in this directory we didn't have a config.yaml, so it just Dancer just showed what is built in the configuration. And in previous videos we saw that you could actually use the set keyword inside inside Dancer to change the configuration, but that's not really the proper way or the best way to do it. It's much better to have them in external files. So the main configuration file is this config.yaml. And I'll show you what's inside it. So it's just one key, which is not even any, it doesn't really have any meaning to Dancer, and some just and a value, but this is just a really simple YAML file. Now if I reload, restart the application, and again I have to do it now because actually I think I could tell it to just monitor everything in this directory. So if we go back to the browser and then reload, now you'll see that it added this key value pair. Okay, so we have all the defaults, and then it added the key value pair. And we can of course make changes here. So let's stop this. Let's add here car set. I think that's good. That should be so car character set, and that's going to be UTF-8. And let's try to run this. Plug up -R, the local everything here, I think, and that might help. Okay. No, it isn't like. Okay. I'm not sure what it's saying now, but it didn't like the way I started to load. Okay, so this one, no, it's just monitoring the up PSG file. So let's leave it for now. Okay, so if I run the up PSGI and reload the page, now I get, and you can see that the UTF-8 is here. So that's fine. The UTF-8 that was set. Now let's take a couple of other examples. So here we have, for example, templates. Templates. So again, we're going to talk about templates later on. This one is going to this one means that we change the templating system to template toolkit, and there's some configuration information for template toolkit. So what I do is I take this config file and I include the templates here. And I don't need these signs because they were only just to have the YAML file. Okay, so now that I updated this config file and reload it, I can reload the page, and now you can say that the templating system is here. Now it says template toolkit, and then there is some other information, more information for the template toolkit itself. And there is another one here. I'm not going to show you how it's uploading. So there's another one, for example, here, configuring the session informations, but it's not necessary to show. It's just, you can see that it's updating the configuration information. Now, what's interesting here is that I actually also have two files, one called production and one called development, that I put it aside so I can show the example. So if I create the directory environments, and I'm going to move there the development and production files to the environments. Okay, and if now I run this application, then and reload it, well, you know what? Yeah, I'll what it was in the config. So in the config we had the Maven, then the UTF-8 and all the rest. Let's get rid of all the rest and keep only the Maven one, and then these two files. So now if I run pluckup, it will take the values from the config file and then from the development YAML, which is in the environments directory. So if I reload it, you can see that it has the Maven, okay? And then, for example, this show errors, I think it wasn't there actually. Let's check it, okay? So let's move the environments development back. So now we don't have that file. I run it, and now if I reload it, you see this is just the default configuration without the show errors. This is just the default configuration with the Maven. And now when I move the development file to the environments directory, and if I run the application again and reload the page, then it also includes that information that comes from the development configuration file. So what is in that development configuration file? There can be many things. You can put there anything, basically. Of course, this just overrides whatever is in the config file. And the interesting one for now is this show errors, because you might recall that that's how we set it, that the dancer will show some detailed error messages when there is a 500 error instead of just the default 500 error page. Okay, so this is what we have. And there's another file here which is called production, okay, where other parameters are different, but the show errors is going to be 0 here. So this is what we are expecting to set in production. And now what we can do is we can define dancer environment. It's a difficult word to write. And here we say the name of the environment, production, okay? if I type it correctly, and now if I run the application, plug up, then Dancer is going to read, first of all, it shows the environment is being production, okay? And it also shows, it still read the config file, right? But the show errors is not 0. And a couple of other things change. So basically, what you need to remember is that you can configure the application by creating the config.pl file. So this config.pl file, config YAML file in the root directory of the project. In addition, you can create environments for yourself, and each environment, which means you can create configurations for different environments, for example, development, testing, whatever, production. And then you can create these files for them. In each file, you can put the specific configuration parameters for that environment. And then, for example, in a production environment, you just have to set that, say that the Dancer environment is equal to production. That's how you run it. And that's it, basically, okay? So this is how you can make configuration. Of course, the detailed specific configurations you will need to read for each one of the templating system or each one of the plugins and so on. But I wanted to show you what is the default, what's the system of the configuration. And just so you know, these two files, the production and development that I just showed you, are the default files that are actually coming with Dancer when you create it with the Dancer 2 command line program that we're going to see as well a little bit later in the course. So that's it for now.